You can be successful, respected, even well paid, and still feel like something about your career no longer fits. It's a quiet feeling, difficult to explain, but hard to ignore once you notice it. That experience is what I call career misalignment. And most high performing women, they don't talk about it. In this video, I walk through 5 signs you've outgrown your role, even if everything looks good on paper. If you've been feeling restless, professionally stagnant, or quietly disconnected from a role that once fit, then this video is for you. And the 5th sign is the one that keeps many women in roles for years that they no longer want to stay. From the outside, everything may look fine. The title looks good. The salary is respectable. Your colleagues respect you. You've built a career that many people would be proud of, but internally, something feels different. You're showing up, you're doing the work, but the role no longer fits the way it once did. And that feeling can be confusing because you're not burned out. You don't necessarily hate your job. Nothing dramatic has happened, yet you feel increasingly misaligned with your current role. So, what do I mean by misaligned? When I talk about career misalignment, I'm talking about your values, strengths, interests, and goals no longer match what your job requires or rewards. There is a quiet disconnect between you and the role you're performing. And for many women, this realization don't happen all at once. It shows up in subtle ways. If you've been feeling restless or disconnected from that work, then this conversation is one you've been waiting for, so let's get into it. The first sign is success without energy. You're competent, you deliver, you're respected. Your performance reviews are strong and people trust you. You know how to do your job well. In many ways, you've mastered it. But you're tired in a way that sleep doesn't seem to fix. And it's not because the work is too difficult. It's because the work is no longer stretching you. You see, when we're growing, work has a certain energy to it. There's challenge, there's learning, there's forward movement. But when growth stops, something happens. Energy drops. You may find yourself completing tasks easily, but without that same sense of engagement you once had. And sometimes women interpret this as laziness or loss of motivation, but often it's something different. It's simply that you've outgrown beyond that role. So here's a question worth reflecting on. Are you tired because the work is overwhelming, or because the work has stopped challenging who you are becoming? That distinction, it matters. The second sign is this. You're solving problems you no longer care about. Now, this one can be uncomfortable to admit because you're good at what you do. You've built expertise. You know how to navigate the systems. You understand the work, but internally, the problems you're solving every day, they no longer feel meaningful. You may catch yourself thinking about something like, I can absolutely do this job, but then another thought quietly follows. Do I want to keep doing this? That question alone is important because it signals that your internal priorities may be shifting. And this isn't ingratitude, it's evolution. As people grow, the things that once motivated us sometimes change. And routine without meaning eventually leads to disengagement. I remember facilitating a workshop once where I asked the women in the room to list the tasks they perform in their jobs. One woman raised her hand and said, "I boil water." Now, she worked for an energy company, so at first the room laughed. But when the group began asking her more questions, what's your job title? Who are your customers? What are the expectations of your supervisor? It became clear that she was responsible for much more than boiling water. And that moment stayed with me. But somewhere along the way, the deeper purpose of the work had faded. What was once meaningful had slowly become routine. And when that happens, the work can begin to feel disconnected from who you are. So the reflection here is simple. Are you still connected to the purpose behind the work you do every day? Or are you simply good at doing it? The third sign is restlessness that you can't fully explain. You can't quite name what's wrong, but something just feels off. So you may find yourself strolling job boards, but not applying. Thinking about doing something different, but not knowing exactly what that is. You may even feel a sense of internal agitation that's hard to describe. Many women ignore this feeling, trying to get past it. So they tell themselves, I should just be grateful. And gratitude is important, but restlessness is also information. Restlessness is data. It's often the early signal that your identity is evolving faster than your environment. The role hasn't changed, but you have. Your thinking has expanded. Your expectations may be shifting. And your sense of what you want your work to represent may be changing too. Restlessness isn't always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it's a sign that something new is trying to emerge. So I'm curious, have you ever felt this kind of restlessness in your career? If you have, just write restlessness in the comments and I'll get it. The fourth sign is believing that you need clarity before you act. This is something I see many women struggle with. There's a belief that before you make any move, before you explore a new direction, you must feel completely certain. But that's not how clarity works. Clarity doesn't arrive fully formed. It develops through reflection, experimentation, and thoughtful decision making. In other words, clarity is something that you build. And if you keep waiting to feel perfectly ready, you may stay in a role far longer than you should. Not because the role is terrible, but because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. The truth is this: clarity rarely comes from staying still. It usually comes from engaging in the questions you're avoiding. The fifth sign is simply staying because the role feels stable. Now, full disclosure, let me say something important here. I fully understand stability. I spent 30 years in my career in public service, so I'm not someone who tells women to walk away from their work impulsively. Stability matters, security matters, especially in today's economy. Many women stay because the job is predictable, the income is reliable, the reputation is respectable, and all of those and any of your reason is valid. This is where reflection matters. Stability without alignment can quietly become stagnation. Not overnight, but gradually. And this conversation isn't about judgment, it's about awareness, because awareness is the first step to change. And change does not have to be dramatic. It can be thoughtful, and it should be strategic. You don't have to blow up your life, but you do need to acknowledge when something inside you is shifting. Before you leave, here's the one question worth reflecting on. If nothing about your career changes in the next 3 years, would you feel satisfied or restless? And if any of these signs resonated with you, know that you're not alone. Many professional women reach a moment in their careers where they begin to realize that the role that they once worked hard to achieve may no longer reflect who they are becoming. And navigating that realization requires more than motivation, it requires clarity. And that's exactly why I created the Career Realignment Cohort. And that is a structured 6-week space where professional women step back, reflect deeply, and make intentional decisions about their next chapter. If you're interested in learning more, the link will be coming in the description in the coming weeks. And if this conversation resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. I share weekly conversations on leadership clarity and professional realignments. Listen, the truth is you don't need permission to change.